This is Act&Analyze with Maggie and Tyler. We are two best friends.
I'm an actress.
And I'm a therapist.
In Act&Analyze, you will hear us discuss all things within media in our daily lives, while relating it to our lovely guests.
We want to have fun, but also learn along the way.
Everywhere around us is media. We just want to know, what type of media helps you, or infuriates you, or makes you feel good?
We want to grow with you and leave you all feeling better than how we found you.
Welcome to Act&Analyze. We have an amazing guest today.
Yes.
She is incredible. I met her in college. Her name's Jeanette Bednar. She is an artist, an actress, a writer. She is just overall an incredible human. She's overcome so much. And I'm just obsessed with her. She's so brave and so kind and so compassionate. And she's always been that way. I've always just, anytime, like you said in past episodes, I always leave feeling my cup is way more full than how I left it.
No,
and
same.
any of my friends in that group of people, I always feel that way. But yeah, we're so excited to have her on.
I would say just about her, she has been one of the most supportive people of the podcast. I'm so grateful for her.
Yes.
She really is from the start of us announcing we're starting the pod. She has been so invested, so supportive, just so all around kind. In every way, shape, and form. So I'm just so thankful for you, Jeanette, for being so supportive of us. And
yeah, we're so excited to have her on.
We're so excited to have her.
Well, let's get to it.
All right, let's welcome Jeanette.
Hello, Jeanette.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, we're so happy to have you.
I'm so excited to be on.
Yes.
We are so excited. Do you want to introduce yourself to the pod?
My name is Jeanette Bednar, and I'm an actor, writer, artist, filmmaker. And a few years ago, I had a very extreme medical condition situation. I got diagnosed with Median Arcuate Ligament Syndrome is what it's called. And so that has been informing a lot of my work lately, a lot of what I've been focusing on just as a person. And I don't know, we can get into that a little bit today.
Yeah.
And talk a lot about media. But yeah. That's a little bit about me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I know that you and Maggie have history. How do you two know each other? Tell a little bit about that.
Yes.
We both went to Montclair State University together.
Fly, Red Hawks,
Go
fly.
Red Hawks. We were both in the acting program. Maggie was the year below me. And that's our history.
Yeah. We met there. We met walking around the grid in the space.
Yes, doing grid work.
I think you were in, I specifically remember you and a lot of people in your class in Mercedes' class.
Yes, movement.
In movement.
Yeah.
You're also just so empathetic. Your energy is so transformative. It's so open. I feel like you've always just been such a good open presence. If you need to talk about anything, Jeanette is that person. She is an angel. And also I genuinely always admire everything that you do. Everything comes down to she's always that friend that's showing up with a cake, showing up with cards,
with the cards she just made us.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna attach a graphic of it.
Everything.
It's fun to give a gift.
Oh my gosh, you were
so sweet.
You're the same way, Maggie. I think we are matched.
Love
in
you.
that way. We've had many an 8-hour conversation. We used to just get lost.
Yes.
Talking.
And I just there's nothing we can't talk about.
Yeah.
I feel that way about you.
I feel like we disconnected a little bit, like during the pandemic, as everyone did. And then we just ran into each other, like randomly in Montclair, maybe like a year or two after.
Yeah.
With Danny and Alex, my partner. And I don't know, we sat and had like a 6-hour conversation.
Yes.
And I feel like it was then that we clicked again, and now we're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're living our dreams in New York.
I remember you talking about Jeanette when like you were an undergrad and like always saying just kind and sweet things about her. And just your whole group is so sweet and so open and such like girls and just I love spending time with all of you. It's always so fun.
It's so fun.
Jeanette, tell me about your relationship with media, growing up with it.
Yes.
How was it for you? What media do you hold on to? What media could you do without? Like,
I love all media.
Yes.
I love media. Big media girl. Yes. I love TikTok. I'm very into TikTok. I love movies and TV, obviously. Was very much raised on like TV and movies. And when I was like sick and unwell, I definitely clung on to media as a form of entertainment, as a form of just like gathering information about my condition. And same as like during the pandemic too, during that like really isolating and lonely time, I just heavily relied on TV and TikTok and Instagram to feel connected. I feel like media helps us connect to other people's stories and feel seen, and I definitely have felt seen through so many different
I always think about when you told me about the Facebook group when you kind of didn't know what MALS was and any of it, and you said like if it wasn't for that Facebook group, like I would not have been, I think, able to diagnose it as soon as, or they were telling you too that they've never heard a diagnosis that quickly.
Yes, exactly.
And that's so crazy, that the power of social media that has that.
Like, I don't say lightly, literally, I owe my life and like being healthy and here today to
chills. I just got chills like up my spine.
No, it's insane. So my story is that I had IBS and like stomach conditions kind of throughout my life. I was always like a throw up girl. Like I would vomit over anything. And in college, I had tried to pursue answers and like figure out what was going on. I had some really severe stomach issues for a while. Then they just went away. And then I got COVID in 2020, December of 2020. And like about a month after that, I just started experiencing this severe, like debilitating stomach pain. I started to, I ignored it for a long time. And I thought maybe, I was like pregnant or something. I was like, something is seriously wrong.
Yeah.
And then one day I just stopped being able to eat anything. Like I would just eat, and every time after I ate, I would just be experiencing this extreme, like stabbing, cramping, aching pain. And I would throw up, and then the pain would be gone. Like that would just relieve the pain. And I was like, something is wrong. So I went to the emergency room to get some answers, to get some testing done. And the emergency doctor came back and was like, well, since you have this history of IBS and since you've already like seeked all these answers, and I was very clear about my stories, he was like, there is one thing that like it really, like your condition, your symptoms are really lining up. It could be this thing called celiac artery compression syndrome. Like, I don't know, it's really rare, but I would suggest like pursuing answers. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, you have to speak to the vascular doctors here. Like they're the ones who would diagnose that. So then it was this whole stint in the hospital. I was like in the ER for 3 days, and the vascular doctors finally came to talk to me, and they were like, yeah, you don't have it. It's so rare. Like, we don't know what's wrong with you, but just like go, I don't know, you can, if your pain like persists, then you can, then you can pursue a diagnosis after you leave. But for now, like, go drink protein shakes. I don't know what to tell you. And I was like, okay, thanks for nothing. But then since I had this like possible condition to pursue answers for, I just started researching, and I found some Facebook groups that were like people who had been through this diagnosis, and I just started pursuing answers from there, and I found lists of doctors to reach out to through there, and I was like privileged in a lot of ways. My dad's an emergency doctor, so there was a lot of like medical language that I was able to understand. In a lot of ways I was able to advocate for myself, asking very specific questions, and I got a diagnosis actually pretty quickly. Like from the time of being in the ER to my diagnosis was like 6 months. And most people with this condition, because it's so rare, because no one knows much about it, people can wait like 3 to 7 to 20 years before ever getting a diagnosis. Like they're just dealing with this severe pain and not being able to eat for like years and years and years. And I only really dealt with it for a year before I was able to get surgery, and then finally like kind of cure the condition.
Yeah, that's like incredible that media has that power to do that, and also like make you not feel alone. Like that must have just been so like lonely too, because that type of pain is so individualized and like
so isolating
to feel gaslit by the doctors, to feel like, you know, it's just like, that is just incredible that you were able to find a community like.
And the power of people just like putting all of their experiences and all that information together. It is so powerful. I know there's a lot of ways that social media can be problematic or difficult and cause issues, but there's so much good in it. There's so much good that can come from people just connecting with each other.
And it gives people who maybe don't have the lingo or the language to explain what's happening, it allows them to see what other people have experienced, so then when they go to the doctor they can see, maybe you shared, this is exactly what I said to the doctor to finally get answers. Then when they go, they can have that same script almost to then push forward and be able to get the test and get the surgery and get the answers.
Exactly. I have posted some like writing about my experience on my website, and I've actually had people reach out and be like, thank you so much for like telling us about your experience. Like I had this person say that they printed out the entire thing. This is like, it's like pages and pages and pages. Amazing. And she was like, no doctor prepared me for like getting surgery in the way that your document prepared me. And I can confidently say that I would not have gotten the surgery unless I had your information to reference, because I was able to know what to expect. And the doctors just don't know, they don't have the time or the capacity, I don't think, to really be able to like support patients through what exactly they should expect from the whole, I don't know, just the whole situation. Wow.
So what was the surgery? Like what did the surgery entail, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh no, of course, I would love to share. So basically the condition, Median Arcuate Ligament Syndrome, but it's also known as celiac artery compression syndrome. Okay. So it's an anatomical anomaly. Like your body is just born with your anatomy slightly off. So your diaphragm sits too low in your stomach, and it's compressing your celiac artery. And this is where there's like two kind of theories of thought around what the condition even is. Like I don't think that there's a consensus in the community about what the actual issue is. The surgeon that I went with believes that the diaphragm is compressing the artery, and that's causing it causes a blood flow issue. Some people believe that the blood flow is the thing that is like causing the pain. Like there's not enough blood going through your artery to like support digestion or something. But the doctor that I worked with, Dr. Shu in Connecticut, believes that actually it's the nerves around the celiac artery, like your nerve bundle, the nerves are being damaged. So the surgery that he does is to go in and take off the median arcuate ligament, which is the bottom of the diaphragm. It's the part of the diaphragm that like keeps your diaphragm tied down, I think. So he like just like takes it away. The median arcuate ligament syndrome like cuts off the bottom of your diaphragm, but then he also goes in and removes the damaged nerves in that celiac bundle, and that like the damaged nerves were causing pain, and then like stitches you back up. Some other surgeries, some people like just release the median arcuate ligament, and then that artery is back to like having proper blood flow because it's compressed, and then it's not compressed anymore, but they don't remove the damaged nerves, but the artery has blood flow again, and that works for some people. So that one's a less invasive surgery. It's like laparoscopic, so they just go in through like a tiny hole. But the surgery that I got was an open surgery, so that they can go in and actually like reach the nerves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And how recent was the surgery?
So I got the surgery, I want to say it was in 2021. I think it was August 2021. And it was a really brutal recovery. It was definitely the most pain I've ever been in, the most nausea I've ever experienced, because it's, I think, just removing nerves in your stomach and nerves that like help your digestive system. It's just so intense. It took me, I would say, like 3 months to recover from, in terms of like being able to start exercising a little bit again and stuff. But I would say like 2 years to actually really bounce back and start feeling like myself, to have my energy back again, to like build up strength again, and like mentally years. It's taken up until like now to feel back, to myself.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing kind of like the journey of like the mental part of it, like pre-diagnosis and then during and now like post-surgery?
Absolutely. So I graduated into the pandemic. It started like the year I was graduating, and that was really rough for me, as I know it was for many people. I would say my mental health was already hanging on by a thread before the pandemic, just graduating, and so that really sent me into like a low and isolated spot. And then I'm trying to remember, I think I sought therapy right before I started having these like stomach issues. And I used BetterHelp actually, which I don't know. How do you feel about BetterHelp?
No, I don't condone BetterHelp.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
I mean, I'd recommend it if you have no other resources.
Absolutely.
If you're just feeling so lost, which is where I was. I just didn't know where to start. I knew I always wanted to do therapy, but it's a little sus.
And now just like a sidebar real quick, the counseling compact law is getting passed in a lot more states, which allows for fully licensed counselors to practice in all of the states that are part of the compact law, which now people like who don't have accessibility to therapy don't have to use things like BetterHelp that isn't very regulated.
Yeah,
so
that's the issue
now
with
that's going to get better with like
regulated.
Accessibility to mental health.
Yeah.
But sorry.
No, I love that sidebar. I think it's like important to discuss, and I don't see a lot of people talking about. I mean, it's promoted on so many podcasts. Some of my favorite podcasts, and I get it. Like, I think mental health needs to be accessible, but it's not it. my therapist through BetterHelp was fine. She was
That's
okay.
great.
I connected with her, like, in a way.
Mhm.
I was at a point in my life where I, like, didn't understand how to identify anxiety. Like, I was like, I know I'm a deeply anxious person, but, like, I don't even know the difference between, like, what's an anxious thought and what's, like, a reasonable, like, I don't know, like, logical thought. Like, I couldn't separate what was just, like, an anxious worry or what was, like,
intuition.
yeah, exactly. And she helped me kind of, like, figure out the differences there. She definitely helped, like, stabilize me a little bit. And I felt really lucky because I started dealing with this medical issue, like, right as I started that therapy. And so I really, really, really needed some support, like, in the beginning of that journey because it was just so overwhelming. But, you know, I, like, didn't have any money, and I had to stop working because I was so sick, so I did eventually leave that therapist, and so I had kind of, like, a baseline, I don't know, like, stabilization of my mental health, but was still very much struggling, and I was forced to depend on a support system in a way that I had never before in my life. Like, I was always the type of person who just wanted to, like, be in control of my own shit all the time and never be, like, depending on anybody else and never being, like, vulnerable and opening up in that way. And I just, you can't do that. You can't do that when you're dealing with such a severe medical crisis. Like, you have to start depending on people. So that led a path to then me being, like, more open in general. And I really buckled down and focused on my physical health for a while. I went through the surgery. I took the time to heal. And then I took kind of just, like, I feel like time off of life. Like, I just was sort of being supported by my parents for a few months, which I deeply appreciated and needed. And I was just kind of, like, vibing and enjoying myself and, like, finding a reason to live again, you know, like, finding the joy in life. And things were going well for a while, but I was really pushing down, like, so much of the trauma that I had dealt with the condition, and also just, like, from my life, from my childhood, and so then I had a breaking point, like, about a year ago. It was a few years after I had healed, and I was like, well, I'm better. Like, I'm back to working, like, I'm back to eating and hanging out with friends, but I just feel so, like, nothing. Like, I just felt so lethargic and, like, wasn't finding the joy in anything. Like, my favorite coping mechanisms, like getting some ice cream and, like, watching some reality TV, which would always set me straight, right? Like, that would always put me in a mood. And I'd be like, here I am eating this ice cream, like, with my partner, my best friend, and I just want to cry. Like, I just don't know what's happening. So I would scroll TikTok a lot, right? But not even mindlessly, like, very mindfully, actually. I was on a lot of neurodivergent TikTok, of course, obviously, and a lot of, like, therapy talk, and just watching these people. And there's this one therapist that was posting that I just really connected with, and I decided to reach out to her to see if she was taking clients, and she was. And so I did therapy with her.
Oh my god!
And it felt like a true soul connection. I love her so much. It was the opposite of BetterHelp. And actually, so the reason that I specifically brought it up is because some of her videos, she actually got a, like, cease and desist order from BetterHelp because she was talking about it on TikTok, and they were like, ma'am, you need to stop. Like,
oh wow.
Damn.
But I thought that was so badass and so fun.
Yes.
Funny. And then she just, I just did actual real therapy and cried so much for months and months and let out all of the emotions that I had just been like holding in for years and years, and really just opened up to being like kinder to myself, because even though I think I try to be a pretty kind person to everyone else, I had so many negative core beliefs just like about myself. It definitely was fueled by like discipline and like negative self-talk to kind of like encourage myself. So therapy helped me like step away from that and start speaking to myself more kindly and being motivated from
love,
mindful self-compassion.
Yeah.
I'm like, just the soul connection that you mentioned of finding this therapist on TikTok and connecting with her so much, and she brought you here to such a better and more mindful, more loving and compassionate place. That's incredible. I'm so happy you found that after such a long journey of just like medical trauma, childhood trauma, just being gaslit and not heard and not seen, and she just, it was a space where I felt so cared for, so listened to, and so supported in a way that it was like a relationship that taught me like, this is what I should expect from everybody. Like I should just be treated like this and have space held for me like this from everybody. Like this is what I kind of expect from other people. And it was really hard for me to like be in a relationship that I didn't have to bring anything to the table. Like I didn't owe her anything, and that was weird to me and very uncomfortable. Like even though I'm so thankful for the whole process, definitely so many of the sessions were so deeply uncomfortable because my people pleaser self like wanted to be like giving something back. Like I didn't understand a like non-conditional relationship. That was just crazy to me.
Therapy is like an uncomfortable thing. And people don't mention that. Like I know there's people that can hop on and just talk, and I will like negate a lot of things in therapy, like just pivot because I get so uncomfortable, but like to face the uncomfortability like head on is so hard, and like
to actually feel those core emotions that I was just absolutely not feeling for so long.
That's really, really admirable. And I remember you, like, just you being so open with me about that journey, and like is something that helped me so much in my journey with therapy and my journey with like people pleasing and going to places that I wasn't comfortable with. Like you opening up to me and me being able to, you having that space, like always made me able to be like, if Jeanette can do this, I can do this. I can do this.
I'm so glad.
I always felt that way, and because that, and it's really just not easy. Like I think people think like once you get a therapist, there's this moment of like, okay, I have a therapist now, like I'm good. But like that's really where like the hard work starts.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And you know, when clients come in and maybe share like, I'm uncomfortable, I hate this, like this sucks, I'm like, you're not supposed to. Like you're supposed to have a place of comfort with me and a place of being heard and safe, but it's not supposed to be fun. Like you pay me for a reason. It's not my job to provide you with something easy. Or something fun. Like we can have fun times. Like we'll shoot the shit and we'll laugh at stuff and all of that. But like, you know, I would be doing you a disservice if I wasn't going there with you. But yeah, it is supposed to be uncomfortable. Like if you wanted comfort, you would find it in friends and with people you're close with. Like you pay this person to provide a space to go there with you and to provide a judgment-free zone to just let it all out
Yeah.
and just be heard.
Yeah.
But it sucks. I mean, I see a therapist and I feel the same way, and I am a therapist. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just like I'm so appreciative of you being open with us and sharing that journey with us. You mentioned earlier just like how you really relied on media during that time.
Yes.
Can you share some of the specific shows or movies or books or podcasts that
I would love to. During my like medical condition crisis smells situation. Okay, some of my favorites: reality TV, Survivor.
Yes.
Why did I like Survivor? First of all, it's an iconic and perfect and wonderful show. It's just
So
a good reality show. But also, second of all, I don't know if did I say like when I was basically the thing with Mal's, how it showed up with me is that I couldn't eat like anything. Some of my only safe foods were, for whatever reason, oatmeal and rice and black beans. Like, I don't know why, but that's just the food that I could tolerate. So for 6 months, I ate like literally just oatmeal, rice, and beans. And on Survivor, they only eat rice and beans. They're on like a limited diet. So I'd see them be like, I'm hungry. So hungry. And I'd be like, literally me. I get it. I relate. And they'd still have to do these like physical challenges while being just absolutely malnourished. And I'm like, yes, I get that.
You would actually be.
Thank you so much.
Incredible. You could be the next Survivor. Please tell me you have applied. Please.
I used to like be like, I'm gonna go on Survivor. Like, I need to go on that show.
Everything about that show you would be incredible at.
Now, I never really want to put myself in a place of being malnourished again.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could do it, but also never say never. Like, maybe, because it is kind of a life dream.
Yes.
And I know what my strategies would be.
I know. You would be incredible.
I'm a schemer enough
Yes.
to be able to make it into at least the top 10, I think.
Top 3. I see you top 3, like, winning that $1 million.
I kind of need to do it just to know that I can, but also I don't want to be malnourished, and it's getting harder and harder. They started taking it easier in the like later seasons, and then they've had a revival since coming back from the pandemic, and Jeff has flipped it upside down again, and now they're back to just rice and beans. Like, there was a time when they had like fruit available to them.
I remember that,
because they were like, they're just so malnourished, they're just tired, they're just sleeping all the time. Like, this isn't even interesting TV. And I think that was good. Like, let's give them a little more nutrients.
Yes.
Like,
let's give them some manners.
no. Now the new rules, it's back to the old rules, and it's more complicated.
That's
like
crazy.
The people who are on Survivor these days are so very impressive because they're dealing with like so much more like complicated. Gaming.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Maybe give it a couple years.
Maybe a few years.
Yeah,
maybe in my 50s.
They'll lean up. I
Yeah.
totally see. It's a lifetime thing. Like, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
If I did go on, my strategy would be to bulk up. I would try to gain like 35 pounds before going on, so then at least I have some room to lose weight and things. Yeah. You would have to bulk up, but then like 2 months before, then you'd already start going on your like starvation diet, so your body's used to not eating that much.
Oh my
it would be like a
God.
year of prep, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, your strategy would be...
Thought about it deeply.
I know you have, Jeanette, and I know it's iconic. Like, I know, like, I could never, like, I don't, my strategy, see, like, I've watched Traitors, which reminds me of Survivor a little bit, just, like, not with any of, like, the starvation, and it's, like, that game Werewolf. Have you played that game? You would be so amazing at the game Werewolf. It's all about, like, head games and stuff, or mind games. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, and the one woman, Phaedra, she's the killer or whatever, so she's, like, out here, like, killing all these people, but no one, she never had a plan or anything. She's like, I'm just straight up lying to people people's
Yes.
faces.
Yeah.
Like, and
Exactly. No, I think you also would do very well on the show.
that would be my game.
Because you just go and you just chat with everyone and they would just trust you. And I think you just like have no strategy, no plan, but you do so well with that. It would
I
be
would just be
chaotic
like-
good.
The chaos.
Maybe we should go on together.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, you two should.
If they do Survivor teams, we'll do it together.
Yeah,
I think we would be a good tag team.
Yeah.
Because you would help me organize all the relationships in my mind. Like we'd be like, okay, we'd be writing.
Okay,
in
this
the
is what,
sand.
how I would not do well because like you don't have a pen and paper. Like I wouldn't be able to have my lists. You just have to keep it all up in here. That's crazy.
We would make notes in the sand.
Yeah.
We would carve it in the tree.
Make some paper out of leaves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good show.
It's a good
My
one.
other show, Kardashians, always.
Yes.
That's the reality TV I can just get into. I don't know if it's because I
Yes.
kind of grew up watching them. At one point, my brain just latched on, and that is like prime entertainment for me. I don't
too.
really do the Real Housewives. Like I just haven't gotten into it.
Yes.
I want to. Like I
Me
really,
too.
really want to. Like be in that. Same with there's that other one.
I do too.
There's so much reality TV that I'm like, I want to like it. I want to be on this train with you all. Like it seems
Yeah.
like everyone's really enjoying it, but I just haven't been able to get into it. But Kardashians, like, I am into.
I love that you love
I'm
Kardashians.
always waiting for the new season to come out.
Me
I'm
too.
like my partner's really into baseball. Baseball season lasts so long, but it's like, okay, he's either in baseball season or not in baseball season. For me, I'm like
Yes.
in Kardashian season. Or
Yes. Yes.
Would you rewatch Keeping Up too
It doesn't
during
do the
that time?
same.
It doesn't
No,
do the
it doesn't.
same.
It's like needs
The
to be
Hulu
new.
version is like so much better than
The new, you mean the
the one on Hulu,
Yeah.
Kardashians on
Yeah,
Hulu.
I love
is just so much better than like
now that they're all
Keeping Up.
producing it.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
nice, so
It is.
fun.
Exactly.
It's very meta. They're like
Uh-huh.
letting us in on
Yes.
the production part of it, which I
Yes.
love. I do
Yeah.
love Keeping Up,
Mm-hmm.
but it just the way that a new season just like feeds my soul.
Yes.
The old ones, I've already seen it. So
Exactly.
I've already seen it.
I know. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for the new season. I was just watching the trailer the other day.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good stuff.
Do
Good
you have a favorite Kardashian?
No, I couldn't say. I have 5 siblings. I have a lot of siblings too, so sometimes we'll do like I'll be like, you're this one. And
Oh
Yeah.
wait,
that
who's
one.
who? Who's who? I
So
want to know.
I think my sisters would agree that I'm Courtney, probably.
Yes.
But it's debatable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think for me, Courtney. Okay, but can I say some films that also helped me through, but that are more like, so I'm writing a feature film about my experience with mouths.
Tell us all about it.
Yes,
please.
please.
I've been writing it for the past couple of years, but I kind of needed to like take a break from thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of just back into it more this year, and I think I'll have like a real first draft to read through by the end of this summer.
Yay!
Which I'm really excited
Yay!
for. I had to like make the choice, like, is this my exact story or is it like a fiction? Like, is it just a little bit of it? Is it inspired by my story, but not exactly my story? Which is the route I ended up going.
Yes.
So my character's name is Joanne.
Yes.
And like it's her story, but it's my story. And I think that there is not a lot of media about chronic illness, at least not a lot of media that's like actually interesting and engaging to watch. And that's like dynamic, right? Like that's not just dealing with the issue, but that's dealing with a whole person and their life dealing with this issue.
Yes.
But there are some movies and TV shows that like stick out to me that I'm inspired by. I feel like they're like sick narratives or like medical movies. The Big Sick, do you know? Yeah.
I love The Big
Yeah.
Sick.
Have you seen it? The
No,
Big Sick?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
Such a good
ever.
movie.
Yeah, it's like me and
I
my
need to
mom
watch
and my
it.
sister's favorite movie.
Yes. I'm so...
His comedian,
what is his name?
He's from Silicon Valley, because I just watched Silicon Valley and we were like, Danny and I were like, oh my gosh, that's the guy from The Big Sick, who he wrote it, and his what?
Yes, and his wife is the one who, like, she had a medical condition. I don't even know what is the condition.
I
Something
honestly
extreme.
don't know. I've watched it like 3 times, but all years ago. I think I watched it on a plane, and then I watched it again.
Basically, they met, and shortly after they met, she had this like severe medical crisis where she was unconscious and in the hospital for like weeks and weeks. And so it's like a meet cute, but also a medical story. And I think it's like a really realistic view of how stressful the hospital situation can be, and like recovery and growth after recovery.
He's a comedian too, so there's like there's levity in it too.
Like a comedic.
He's funny in it as well. Yeah, it's definitely like a dramedy. Yeah, I love that you said that.
Because it's about, but it's kind of like through his lens, like through his point of view. It's not actually just through. She's like the secondary, I feel like, character in it. But very whole, very well written, like very, very good film. Brain on Fire is another one.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
That's just like, it's about a young woman who just starts to experience this severe, it's like seizures and severe medical condition. And I think it does a really accurate job at portraying, again, the medical system and how stressful it can be, and how stressful it is, especially as a young woman or someone just starting out in life, to be just completely debilitated by something for a few years and then have to like climb back up from that. And also Conversations with Friends. Do you know Sally Rooney? Like, do you know Normal People, maybe? That's another one of Sally Rooney's, like, stories. It was a book, and it was made into a TV show. And in Conversations with Friends, one of the characters is dealing with endometriosis. And I think it's just a very, very accurate representation of, like, a chronic condition and what it means to, like, depend on other people. There's some really profound scenes where she's like in the bathroom and her friend is just completely like caring for her, like taking her clothes off, like putting her into the bathtub. Like it's that kind of really intimate support that I just you don't see a lot. I feel like a lot of media about being sick, it's a lot of cancer stories, which is very important, like so important. And it's great that that's being portrayed, but not every medical story is like a cancer story that leads to death. Like that's just not every story, and that's just a lot of what like you do see. Yeah, it's true. And then 2 documentaries that like deal with medical issues. Introducing Selma Blair. Have you heard of that? Yes. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen parts of it. But
it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I love Selma Blair.
Yeah, she was in Legally Blonde. She was, what's her name?
Vivian.
Yeah, Vivian in Legally Blonde, that actress.
Yes.
She has MS in real life, and so she recorded this really, like, vulnerable and open documentary about her process dealing with MS and like healing from it and being in the hospital and like pursuing surgeries and like the diagnosis and everything. And that to me, like, even though MALS is not MS, it's very different like diagnosis, there was something about watching that documentary that I just felt so seen by, and I watched it when I was like deep in the pits of my medical crisis, and it just was like, yeah, this is what it is to really struggle in the system and to fight, and it's very inspirational. That's like very accurate. And then lastly, Gaga, 5'2". Have you seen that documentary? Yes. I just think that's a beautiful documentary in general, but throughout it, you see that she's dealing with medical issues, which I don't think they say exactly what it is in the show, but it's like these medical conditions affect everyone. Like, you can't be protected. Money can't protect you. Like, fame can't protect you. Like, it's just everyone deals at some point in their life with some person in their life, whether it's you or like someone you're close to. At some point you're going to be dealing with something that's like chronic and severely debilitating. And it's really nice, I feel like, to to see that representation because it makes you feel less alone. Like it's so inspiring. Yeah,
I'm sure. Also, like, you just being the artist that you are and being an actor and and being a writer, all of that too, what we do as artists, we're like a vessel for these things that we're feeling and healing from and everything. Like, so you're not only living through that as an individual in this world, you're also like living through that, your pain as an artist, and that just takes on a whole nother like layer, and
which
like,
I'm so thankful for. It's a little, it's like pretty messed up, but when I was sick, I was like, well, like, good, at least I can use this trauma in my work. Like, at least I can use this story. This is a good story.
No, but that's like a real experience. Like, that's like a shared experience, I feel like, with artists. Like,
it's
true.
To be able to just like, it's just, creativity is so helpful in processing pain.
Yes,
like just being able to have like this project that I'm focusing on to process everything that happened is so helpful. Like, I don't know, I don't see myself getting through the situation unless I had my creativity, like whether it's writing or visual art or whatever
100%.
Yeah. I do have a short film that I think will be coming out at the end of the month called Joanne Has a Poo. So
that's what
character. Yes,
Yes, that's what I saw on your website.
And that's just like a cute little short about a girl going on her hot girl walks every day, but she has IBS and dumping syndrome, and so
oh my gosh,
it becomes a little issue where she can't find a bathroom, and that's just a little short. I'm editing it right now, and I think it'll be out by the end of this month or certainly by this summer. Oh my gosh,
amazing!
So I'm excited.
That's exciting.
And that's a little taste of the character in this larger film that I'm working on.
I'm curious of like, when you are writing or painting or just like trying to have these like creative moments, are you doing it in silence? Are you doing it to music? Are you listening to podcasts?
Music. So much music. You guys, last year I was in the top 1% of listeners on Spotify, which shocked me.
Oh my God.
And then this year is top 3%. But I'm always listening to music or to podcasts. I have so many little playlists going on. I'll like make a playlist for a project. And so then when I like want to get in that world, it's like world building.
Yes,
we were taught world building in school, but it is such a helpful world building tool because it just sets me like right in that zone. Like, there's a couple songs that are these like, I don't know, real like sad, slow moving songs that I will write to, that all I have to do is just click in, tap it on, and boom, I'm like in the character, in the zone. I'll be like crying and writing, listening to it.
100%.
Yeah, I love Spotify. Okay.
What genre do you feel like, if you were a genre, what genre would you be?
Of TV, of movies, of music,
let's do TVs and films first.
Okay. Well, TV and film, I'm going to say the genre that I want to jump into that I think needs more a space is like medical coming of age.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the genre I think my film will fit into, medical coming of age.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a coming of age.
Oh, I love a coming of age.
Yes,
I love a coming of age.
And we don't have enough of them. Also,
you can never get enough.
You can never get enough. I love it. And what kind of like genre of music do you feel like you are?
Okay, music, I feel like at least what I would want to be is like hopeful, inspirational, angsty singer-songwriter vibes. Yeah, that's the music I really connect to. Like Alice Phoebe Lou.
Yes.
I'm listening to her on repeat.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely love, obsessed with. We'll listen to her albums over and over and over again. Or like upbeat, positive, like female pop.
Yes.
Yes. I feel like you're
Kind of
mixable.
similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any other recommendations?
Can I just like give all the recs that I do?
Yes,
Give me
give all the
all of
recs.
them.
I
I
put them
need
in
all
little
of them.
categories.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. With the Mouse film, sort of zone-inspired media, right? We did the medical ones. We did The Big Sick, Brain on Fire, Conversations with Friends, Introducing Selma Blair, Gaga, 5'2". Okay, but also stories centered around food, because food is such a major component when dealing with mouths, like the lack of food and lack of being able to eat. So like Julie and Julia, iconic film. So good.
So good.
And, oh man, what's his name? How am I forgetting? Icon, legend, king.
Oh, Stanley Tucci?
Yeah, Stanley Tucci, exactly. Glad you got there. Stanley Tucci, he has like a book that he wrote about his journey with, I don't know if it was tongue cancer or some sort of issue, where his book is called Taste, and he like lost his ability to taste food, and it's such like a central, food is such a big part of his life. So again, that's another one that I just really connected to, because he gets it. He gets like not being able to experience food in the way that you're used to experiencing food.
Yes.
Love Stanley Tucci.
Okay.
Yeah.
This TV series Made, I think it's on Netflix. Have you
Yes.
heard of it?
Oh my god,
Yes.
yes.
So
I watched
good.
it
Yeah.
like 3 times,
So
actually.
good.
So well done. I think it was really underrated.
Yes.
And
agree.
I think it does such a good job portraying like the bureaucratic system and how frustrating it is to work with, like depending on resources and support, and how like isolating it feels. And so
100%.
again, that's like a component that I would want to bring into my medical coming of age film, is that like process of like paperwork and phone calls and how impossible it feels.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, other documentaries that I just have to shout out because they're so good. There's this documentary director, Lana Wilson. I love everything she does. Miss Americana, the Taylor Swift documentary. So well done. And she also did Pretty Baby.
Yes.
Which is another good documentary. I love a documentary.
Oh, I love a
I
documentary.
love a documentary. There's Jane. It's about Jane Goodall by Brett Morgan. So good.
Really? I need to see.
So relaxing. If you just need to like turn your brain off, just like be inspired. It's just like in nature. It's footage from her in nature kind of the whole time, just sort of telling her story. So relaxing. Such a good one to vibe to. I love it. And then recently I watched The Many Lives of Martha Stewart.
Oh,
So good. That was a good one. I love it. She's an icon, an inspiration, and a legend.
Yes. I just watched her on the Today Show yesterday morning.
I loved it. That was a really fun and a really good one.
She's awesome.
I recommend it. Okay. We're almost through. Okay, podcasts. I have to shout this podcast out. How to Fail with Elizabeth Day.
Ooh.
Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of that.
I love this podcast. The whole premise is like, she's like, well, most podcasts and most like a lot of media is about like success and people, like how they got to a place of success. So I wanted to examine like, what about people's failures? Like, what are the failures that have led up to? So each one of her guests, she asks like, what are the 3 major failures of their lives? Which I just love.
Yeah,
such a good one to
That's
recommend
so
for like
good.
clients who come in with like perfectionism.
Yes, exactly.
People pleasing.
Elizabeth Day, the host, she's really honest about her own perfectionism and people pleasing and her anxiety. And she talks about like, well, but if I let go of my anxiety and my people pleasing, like I'm scared because like what's gonna fuel me?
Yes.
Like what's gonna fuel me? Which I relate to. I think that's really a very true.
That's
a
so
thing.
true.
That's definitely a thing. You have to like find that, like what we were talking about earlier, that inspiration, like in just a positive way. It's like not being a self-critic and actually just like supporting yourself. Yeah. So I love that one. And then of course, Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard and Monica Padman. I really am just hooked. I've been listening. I've been a listener since the beginning.
The beginning of time.
So if you have not listened to that one, which is so popular, you should jump in listening to like a guest that you like
That's
a
what
guest
I
that
always
you're really
do.
interested in. Yeah. I just think they've got a really good thing going, and I think that might be why I'm on the like top percentage of Spotify listeners, because I'm just always streaming that show and music. Okay, music, Alice Phoebe Lou, Chaperone, obviously. Tiny Habits.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Tiny
I went
Habits
to a
are
Tiny
so
Habits
good.
concert a couple of weeks
You
ago.
did? Danny loves Tiny Habits.
And they're dropping a new album soon, like I think in a week or two.
Oh my God, amazing.
And they sang some of those songs at the concert, and it's so good.
Oh,
it's like soft, very like lyrical.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe their music.
Yeah, almost like
listening.
how Hippocampus was when we went. Like they're, but like I would say even chiller. They're like
really
even,
chill,
they're really
easy listening, but really profound. Like really profound lyrics, and like I got some 3 therapy media recommendations. Okay, Fair Play. Have you heard of Fair Play? Do you know what this is? Okay, there is a documentary and a book, but then it's also like a card game, sort of, and it's for couples dealing with like inequity in the division of labor, especially like mental and emotional labor in relationships, especially in straight relationships, but really in any relationship. Like a lot of people will, like one person will be taking on a larger mental load and like larger invisible labor, and so this like concept of fair play kind of breaks up the tasks of like
oh my God,
daily life, like the task of keeping a household, the tasks of like having children, and all of the invisible emotional labor that comes with that. They like write it out in a list, and so the whole idea is like you should be, it's never going to be equal in a relationship, but you should be aiming to have some sort of equity, or at least acknowledge the unequal.
Wait, who do you know who wrote that?
I can look it up, but if you just Google Fair Play, like it will pop up. I'm really into it, and my partner and I have been. Okay, it's not Fair Play like on Netflix. It's Fair Play, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Probably butchered her name.
Okay.
But I really recommend just that whole concept.
Yeah. Incredible.
It's so incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
so
that's
so
amazing.
Good. Okay, just the change triangle. The whole idea is like a lot of us don't know how to sit in our core emotions, like fear, anger, grief, joy, excitement, disgust, and sexual excitement. Like those are your just emotions, and a lot of people aren't allowed to sit in them. And so instead, maybe we feel our inhibitory emotions like anxiety, guilt, shame.
Yes.
But anxiety isn't actually an emotion. Like you can be like, I'm feeling anxious, but you're not feeling anxious. You're actually maybe feeling like scared and excited, or something like that. And then when you're just like living in your inhibitory emotions instead of your core emotions, you start to turn to like your coping mechanisms, your defenses, because you don't want to feel those. So like, you know, smoking too much, drinking too much, like socializing too much, working too much, even like meditating too much, or like my therapist was like, even art, Jeanette, like even doing art, like if you're ignoring those core emotions, like even good things can be you just ignoring your core emotions. So the idea of the change triangle is like learn how to identify those core emotions, and at least if you are turning to a defense or an inhibitory emotion instead, like at least if you're living in anxiety, you're like, okay, but like I'm gonna make the choice to live in anxiety. Like I know right now what's going on is that I'm ignoring my core emotions. But if you can deal with the, if you can tolerate the pain of like feeling that core emotion, a lot of times they'll dissipate really quickly if you just allow yourself to feel them. Yeah. And then, only then, when you're really like allowing yourself to feel those emotions, can you be in your open-hearted state of the like authentic self, which is just when you're feeling calm and confident and courageous and clear.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I love it.
That concept just really helped me like visualize. That's the thing. It helped me visualize everything that I had worked on in therapy. And
That's great because, like, that's stuff I do with my clients. But like, I feel like giving them like a visual like that is something.
Yes.
Because living in your authentic self is always what I'm shooting for with clients.
Yeah, I love that as a resource.
Amazing.
And then lastly, the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook.
I do know that one. Yes.
I love that workbook. I worked through some of it with my therapist, and I still turn back to it. Like, I think if you want a therapy book, like if you're just feeling like, if you're feeling like I can't do therapy, like I just don't have the resources, that would be the resource I would recommend to anyone. Like, none of the other ones, you can get to those later, but like the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook will just help you understand that those negative core beliefs and that like self-critic, and kind of walk you through. And they have so many different exercises, and they have like recordings of the meditations, so basically like a podcast of the meditations that they have in the workbook. So there's a lot of several different components in that.
That's
like
amazing.
Group.
That's amazing.
Therapy recommendations.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I just learned like so much from you and your experience.
Yes.
It will make me a better therapist. So thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
amazing.
you so much for having me on.
Of course. Thank you so much for being
Yes.
here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so open, for sharing your story.
Yes.
You have no idea how much this means to us.
Yes.
Just you being here and being present with us.
Of course.
You're an incredible human.
I love you both. You can follow me on Instagram at Jeanette Bednar Creative Arts. That's my art page.
Yes.
Or just Jeanette_Bednar for my personal page. You can visit my website, JeanetteBednar.com.
Yes.
And Joanne Has a Poo coming out soon.
Yes.
That'll be on my website and on all my socials. TikTok, ASMR Bednar.
Yes.
ASMR Bednar.
Everyone follow ASMR Bednar.
I don't post much, but maybe I will. We'll see. I hope TikTok's here to stay.
I hope she's here to stay.
I also want to plug my brother's podcast, Lock's Leaf Collective.
Yes.
It's a D&D podcast that I'm helping produce.
Yes.
And I'm not a D&D girly, but I still enjoy listening to it. So if any of the Act and Analyze listeners are into D&D, definitely check out Lock's Leaf Collective. It's this D&D world that my brother has been building since he was a child. Like, there's years and years and years of work going into this world, and it's just playful and very fun. Those are my plugs.
I love that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jeanette. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Welcome to Maggie's Media Munchies, where I give you a little something to snack on while you watch or read or look at something in media or listen to something.
Amazing.
I just saw this week, and I recommend you all see it in theaters. Challengers movie.
Yes.
Is it The Challengers or Challengers? Now I'm like getting messed up in my brain.
Challengers?
I feel like it's Challengers too. Anyway, who knew I would be so invested in tennis like I was in this film? It made me want to play tennis. And I never thought I would ever want to play tennis.
Yeah, did you ever play tennis?
I took like one tennis class at the rec center.
Okay.
And I think I maybe went I definitely did it. We were definitely like the kids that had to do it all the way through.
Okay.
And then if we didn't like it, we can stop after that. We don't have to sign up again. But yeah, I definitely went for maybe a couple months.
Okay.
That rec center camp. But I want to get into it again because of that hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so quick back and forth. Anyway, besides that's enough about me. The movie is incredible. Zendaya this is one of my favorite roles I've ever seen her in.
Really?
Yeah. I think she really does an amazing job. I just think her presence is really collected in the film and really, but also her character is good at manipulating the situation, which I really enjoyed seeing. And in her because with Rue, she's so different. And also I get nervous that I am going to see her in past roles. Like, you know, I just saw her in Dune, but I didn't even think about Dune Zendaya and Challenger Zendaya. Like that was a different woman. And that's like, that's why I love acting. Like she really transformed herself, as well as like the cast and crew. Like that helped her do that within the costume, within like the script. I think the script was really well written. I think it kept you on your toes. It was a tense movie. Tensions were high.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Oh my God. Tensions were high and hot. Tensions were hot too. Like it was and it was steamy in a way that like you just wouldn't expect. Like you're like, oh wow. Like you didn't know what was coming next, which I always love in a film.
Right.
And having the whole element of tennis in it really made it fun. And it's really throughout the film. And also just so impressive. I thought the way that it was shot cinematically was beautiful as well. So that's also really, really, it was satisfying in some ways, but also just like so tense. Yeah. Ooh, it was good. It was great.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would pair it with something you get in the movie theaters because you should be seeing it in the movie theaters. A box of Red Hots because it gets steamy. It's spicy. And it's spicy. And it's like one of those films where you're like excited, like with popcorn, you take one bite of popcorn and you're like, oh, it's like that excited, like you are eating with the film. Red Hots is one of those things where like you can't be shoveling in your mouth. Like it's like, ooh, like when you let the build of the Red Hot happen, like I know the tension is building in the film.
Yeah. You need to like fan yourself off. You need to fan your mouth out. You need to
like that cinnamon hotness. I'm not even like a cinnamon hot type of candy type of girl, but something about eating that during this movie, I think would like, I don't know, get me feeling a little, get me feeling a little wild. Yes. So I really recommend it. Even if you aren't a cinnamon hot type of person, go to your Dollar Tree. Don't buy them at the movie theater, obviously.
That's smart. That's smart.
Like, but something like that, just something cinnamony.
Wow.
Whoa. So then my other pairing is a little different. I would say something specifically that I think that I always feel is really just, I would definitely go to a park with Jeanette. I would open up a script from wherever it may be, like, and just like read through it and really like dissect it on how like a show was written or how a movie was written. And dissect it, analyze it, read it, along with some Mr. Softy. Some nice soft serve ice cream. I love me some ice cream. And I think specifically like a soft serve ice cream, like a custard, is what I've been craving so much recently. Like literally the past 3 weeks, I've nonstop talked about how I wanted to get it. But then whenever I'm walking past Mr. Softy, it's always the wrong time. Like I always want to get it at night and have it like back with me in like my home and stuff, or have it in a park where I'm like chilling and like licking my ice cream cone with like my twist and my sprinkles. Yeah. Like, but
it's hard to bring it back with you.
Yeah. So it's hard to bring back with me. And then the park opportunity hasn't really arisen yet because when I've been around the park, I've been like hungry for lunch, or I've brought my like lunch with me and like have eaten, but I need to treat myself to a sweet treat in the park.
Definitely.
And I think I want to do something like that where I read and dissect a script just for fun, just to see how people write and just to see like how it's all put on a page, you know, because you see these things on film. But you like, I just saw Monkey Man and I loved that film. Jordan Peele produced it. Deb Patel's the star of it. It's incredible. I couldn't pair it with any media munchie because you simply cannot watch that film and eat. Yeah. It's really good. Like, but something like reading that script in the park. Yes. And just dissecting it and licking my ice cream just would be really satisfying. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are my media munchies.
Amazing.
Yes.
I love it. Welcome to Tyler's Take Care of Yourself tip, where I give you a tip to take care of yourself. So, Jeanette really inspired the Take Care of Yourself tip. I mean, she gave so many incredible therapy podcasts, mental health podcasts, mental health resources that are just great tips in itself. But something that she shared based off of her featured film which is based off of her experience with her Mels and just her life experience in general. I found that just really inspiring and beautiful that she took such hardship and turned it into art, which I know, like we talked about, that's definitely a shared experience among artists a lot. Mm-hmm. Some of the most beautiful pieces of art have come from hardship and trauma. Baby Reindeer, for example.
Oh
yeah, literally, that's what I was thinking. But just that made me think of the tip of thinking of something, a difficult time, or just something that maybe you're currently going through, and turning it into a piece of art, whether that's like writing a story and making up maybe a different character than like the person going through it, or maybe someone you love is going through a hard time and you want to create something based off of that, or a painting, or a short film, or a song, creating just something out of a difficult experience and making it into a piece of art. Art in itself is just so therapeutic and healthy, and is just like such a mindful thing to do all around. So I think that would be a good way to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Is doing that.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. I have always known I'm an artist because I feel like whenever I go through a difficult time, that's like the number one thing I turn to, even from a super young age. And I think something so nice about that too is, I know it's really great to journal and really great to, say how you're feeling in a book and in writing, and like we all should be doing that. But something about turning hardship into art is also like making something hard into something that's like, that's individualized in you and like human. And like, I think it just reinforces like that the human experience is tough and stuff. And like, we are able to see that through a lot of art and artists.
Yeah. And sometimes you're unable to really see the true hardship that you are going through until you kind of take yourself out of it.
Yes.
And whether that's like you tell a friend about what you're going through and you see their reaction, and that makes you think like, oh, fuck, like that's actually bad. Like doing that, putting it out kind of your brain and putting it on something tangible and seeing it for what it is, maybe help you realize like, oh shit, I do need to really sit in these emotions and really feel what I'm going through and really talk out and process what this is. So I think like making it into something and then seeing it for how painful it was or is can then help you see, okay, I'm actually going through a hard time.
Definitely.
It's so easy to like gaslight yourself and think that you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my take care of yourself tip. And I hope you all continue to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Welcome to Cravings Corner. What are we craving? What are we craving? Is it a feeling? Is it a food? Is it a moment? A place? A thing? A person, place, thing? What are you craving, Tyler?
I am craving graduation.
Yes!
So, I graduated in December. Like that's when I finished school. I got not fully licensed. I got licensed, all of that. But the university I went and got my master's at only does the graduation ceremony in May, in the spring. So, well, 6 days from now is graduation.
I'm going to be there. I can't wait.
You're going to be there.
Screaming from the crowd.
Yes. Like you're with me from start to finish on that journey. So I'm super grateful that you're going to be there.
I'm so excited.
And just being able to just celebrate with my cohort. We were such a close cohort. So it's just going to be so nice to all just like celebrate our accomplishments. And I mean, it feels like we've been out of school forever at this point. And I feel like I've been in the field forever. Like, it's just so interesting that we've only been out really for 6 months.
Wow. That's
I know.
crazy.
But also I'm like, I can't believe it's already been 6 months.
Yeah.
It's that weird feeling. And I feel like that is like a experience a lot of people feel closing a chapter.
Yes.
It's like this felt so long, but also felt so short. Like,
oh my gosh, 100%.
But like, it's just going to be so nice to be like, yeah, we did this. Like we accomplished this and we're genuinely getting to close this chapter of our lives out.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Your master's programs are like, that's big. Like graduating with your master's, like, you signed up for way more school than anyone asked you to, and you did that damn thing, and you got a full ass degree, like, and you're in a career where you're helping so many people. Like, I just totally think that, like, it's just incredible, like, what the journey you're on and the people you met along the way in your master's program. I think, like, you should be so proud of yourself and you should feel so celebrated right now during this time because that is a massive accomplishment.
Thank you.
You were there for 3 years.
Yeah. It was a long journey.
Yeah.
It was a long journey. That's what I'm craving. What are you craving, Maggie?
I'm craving, after speaking with Jeanette today, it's just like, so again, my cup feels full and as I do, but like, something about her specifically, I feel this every time leaving is I just want to be more creative and I want like to dive deeper into my creativity, whether it be writing ideas that I have or just working on Procreate and just drawing my little doodles or or just like painting or just like decorating. And I just love that she always like ignites that in me because we always like, I'm such an idea person, but to get me to put it on a document or like whatever, like that always is like my fear. Like I'm not great at initiating it or finishing things. It's like the neurodivergent mind of mine. Yeah, I really like, I'm craving like just like really starting up some ideas I have. It's almost like I feel like I have this one chance. I get in my head of like, I have this one chance to make one thing and that's it. But like, I think I need to open up my mind a little more and be like, no, what if I just started writing everything I thought down and all these ideas down, which I do have some ideas written down, and like, then like start to decide then like what journeys I want to go on or where, what is this? Is this a show? Is this a short film? Is this like a feature film? What is, I'm just like craving creativity. I'm craving coloring. I'm craving it all. I'm craving ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that just shows like the, how great of a person she is. Like, she's just like a beacon of like creativity and just shining and is just inspiring just all around. Like, I feel inspired to be a better mental health counselor after speaking to her.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I just think she has that.
It's been a great time, guys.
It's been an amazing time.
Yeah.
And I just feel so lovely.
Yes,
and
me too.
ready to enjoy the rest of our day.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Follow us on Instagram at Act&Analyze Podcast and on TikTok, and watch and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
And share us with everyone you love.
We love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.